Briefing, Innovation in Small Enterprises Under Multicultural Integration. Article Summary. 1. In Queens, New York, Tiana Webb runs a small business called T's Kitchen, focusing on Jamaican Puerto Rican flavored empanadas. In Hutto, Texas, Davila Dion operates a small business named W Africa Taste, specializing in Ivorian fufu. Both businesses have a loyal customer base. 2. After the Taliban regained power in Afghanistan, senior leader Haqqani became one of the most important figures in the government. As one of the Taliban's most brutal military strategists, Haqqani had long remained out of the public eye until he gave his first interview to Western journalists this year. 3. In Philadelphia, a large circular video installation named Portal has been set up in Love Park, enabling real-time video connections with other cities around the world. This installation aims to bridge physical barriers through art and promote communication and mutual learning globally. Overall, these articles reflect the trend of multicultural integration in contemporary society, where small business owners provide unique cultural experiences to local communities through traditional craftsmanship and innovative technology. They also showcase the power of art as a bond connecting the world, highlighting new directions in cultural diversity and innovation in modern society. Briefing. 1. Immigration issues are becoming increasingly significant in American politics, emerging as a key topic for the 2024 election campaign. 2. In Iowa's 3rd Congressional District, Republican candidate Zach Nunn and Democratic candidate Rashida Bacham are fiercely competing over immigration issues. 3. Surveys indicate that American public opinion towards China has reached a new low, with most people believing that the U.S. should take action to curb China's rise. However, the public does not wish for U.S.-China relations to deteriorate to the point of military conflict. 4. The political engagement of Asian Americans is on the rise, with Bacham poised to become Iowa's first Asian American congressional representative. However, she faces strong anti-immigrant rhetoric from the Republican Party. 5. Additionally, a resident who has long provided iconic recordings for the Wildwood Beach sightseeing train is suing the local government, accusing it of profiting from her voice without authorization for years. In summary, immigration issues and U.S.-China relations are becoming hot topics in current American politics, reflecting societal divisions and anxieties. At the same time, personal rights protection is also giving rise to new legal disputes. Briefing, News Corp sues Perplexity AI for copyright infringement. On October 24, 2024, News Corp, the parent company of the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal, jointly sued Perplexity AI, an artificial intelligence company backed by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, accusing it of massive illegal copying of copyrighted content from these publications. News Corp CEO Robert Thomson condemned Perplexity's actions as an abuse of intellectual property that harms journalists, writers, publishers, and News Corporation. Perplexity claims that users can skip the link, implying an attempt to evade payment responsibilities. The lawsuit states that Perplexity has compiled a large amount of copyrighted material into a database, providing responses to users through a retrieval-augmented generation (RAG) mechanism without obtaining permission or paying fees. News Corp expressed a preference for temptation over litigation, but stated that it must challenge content predators to protect journalists, writers, and the company. Earlier this year, the company reached a multi-year partnership agreement with OpenAI, allowing the latter to use News Corp's news content. Overall, this copyright dispute reflects the new challenges posed by the rapid development of artificial intelligence technology, as publishers strive to protect their intellectual property. Briefing. 1. Internet Archive hacked. On October 9, 2024, the hacker group SN_Black launched a DDoS attack against the Internet Archive, causing the website to be down for 9 days. The attack resulted in the leak of 310,000 passwords and temporarily disabled the Wayback Machine feature. Internet Archive founder Brewster Kahle stated that the files are now secure and that website defenses are being upgraded. Some reformed criminals, including Mitchell Johnson and Cody Posey, have condemned the attack and donated to support the archive's recovery efforts. 2. Issues in political discourse. Democrats may seek various excuses, such as racism and sexism, to explain potential losses in the upcoming presidential election. However, these issues often stem from the Democrats' own political approach, such as political arrogance and belittling opponents. This approach not only fails to win votes, but may further exacerbate social tensions. 3. Summary. Despite the severe attack on the Internet Archive, the website is gradually recovering thanks to the joint efforts of its founder and donors. Meanwhile, Democrats need to reflect on their political approach, abandoning the practice of belittling opponents and adopting a more rational and inclusive attitude to win voter support. Briefing. 1. A-League clubs will become showcases for core fans, while the Australian Professional League will supercharge football's broader appeal, as part of a new vision for the league to be announced next month. 2. The league will focus on attracting new fans, such as marketing activities on TikTok, where younger fans are active and can be drawn in. 3. The league is reducing staff and cutting club funding, but 2 sold-out matches over the weekend in Auckland and Parramatta indicate that the league still has appeal in certain areas. 4. The league is consulting with various stakeholders to develop a vision that better supports clubs, which serve as showcases. 5. The shooting of a black man by British police has sparked controversy, but the officer was ultimately acquitted, highlighting issues of police accountability. 6. Despite the Melbourne University Press announcing the publication of a book about a judge's ruling, the court stated that the judge was not involved. 7. The Elizabeth Line received the Sterling Prize, underscoring the importance of public transport investment, but the North of England still lacks equivalent investment. Overall, these articles cover multiple aspects, including the development vision for the Australian Football League, police accountability in the UK, controversies in the publishing industry, and regional disparities in public transport investment in the UK. Briefing. October 24, 2024. Theme: The stories behind the news. This briefing will explore the stories behind news reports, revealing the struggles and hard work of journalists. The Times and Sunday Times have been committed to reporting the truth fearlessly, regardless of the cost. However, the stories behind these reports are often overlooked, such as the death threats, legal disputes, and the resilience and integrity required to publish articles. This briefing includes a series of independently produced short films that tell some exciting and tense true stories, showcasing the dedication, struggles, and courage of the best journalists. These stories are not only compelling, but also admirable and inspiring. Let us appreciate these behind-the-scenes stories, feel the challenges behind news reporting, and pay tribute to those journalists who tirelessly strive for the truth. Briefing. 1. Victims' families of the blood contamination scandal to receive compensation. The UK government announced that parents, children, spouses, and siblings of victims who died after contracting hepatitis and HIV can apply for a temporary payment of £100,000. This is the first compensation for the estates of deceased victims. 2. Farmer detains intruders and escorts them to police station. Farmer Neil Greenwood discovered 2 men on his land and conducted a citizen's arrest, believing they were trespassing. The 2 had previously entered the farm on electric bikes and had to leave their vehicles behind due to a locked gate. When they returned the next day to retrieve their bikes, Greenwood subdued and tied them up with an ATV and escorted them to the police station, but he was arrested himself. 3. United Nations celebrates 77th anniversary. On October 24, 1945, the UN Charter came into effect, marking the official establishment of the United Nations. This day is now recognized as United Nations Day. 4. Controversy over the definition of worker. Labour Party Deputy Leader Rayner responded to Conservative Party Deputy Leader Dowdy by stating that workers are the group the Conservatives have failed to care for over the past 14 years. Dowdy questioned whether small business owners also qualify as workers, but Rayner did not provide a clear answer. Health Minister Stretton also failed to clearly define worker. 5. High-income earners may face tax hits. Health Minister Stretton hinted that the budget would primarily target low and middle-income groups, raising concerns that high-income individuals may struggle to receive assistance, potentially leading to tax hits. However, a Downing Street spokesperson stated that the government remains committed to not raising VAT, national insurance, or income tax rates. In summary, these articles cover multiple hot topics, including compensation, citizens' arrest, the establishment of the United Nations, the definition of workers, and tax policy, providing readers with comprehensive and interconnected information. Briefing. 1. Environmental activist Paul Watson was arrested in Greenland and detained until November 13, sparking controversy. He is accused of vandalizing a Japanese whaling ship in 2010, but he claims this is a political case. Watson has applied for political asylum in France, hoping it will become his new home. 2. Former U.S. President Trump was described as a fascist by former White House Chief of Staff Kelly, who expressed concern over Trump's admiration for Hitler. Trump previously stated that Hitler did some good things and expressed a desire for a loyal army like Hitler's, prompting widespread discussion about Trump's authoritarian tendencies. 3. A rare manuscript of The Little Prince is set to be auctioned in Abu Dhabi, valued at over $1.25 million. This manuscript includes handwritten revisions and illustrations by the author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, regarded as an extremely valuable literary heritage. 4. Italy's right-wing party Brothers of Italy has been exposed for extreme fascist tendencies, yet the party remains ahead in polls, becoming a model for other far-right parties in Europe. This has raised concerns about democracy in Italy. 5. Turkish cleric Fethullah Gulen died in the U.S. He was accused by the Turkish government of orchestrating the failed coup in 2016. Gulen denied involvement in the coup and called for an international investigation. Overall, these articles cover significant issues and controversies across various fields, including environmentalism, politics, and literature, reflecting some major problems and disputes present in current society. The briefing attempts to summarize the core points of this information to provide readers with a comprehensive and concise overview. Briefing. Theme: Inflation woes ahead of the U.S. presidential election. Summary. The U.S. is currently facing inflationary pressures, which have severely impacted people's lives. According to surveys, most Americans believe their situation is worse than it was 4 years ago. Inflation has become the most pressing economic issue for voters and has influenced the voting tendencies of some traditional Democratic supporters. Despite government measures, such as the Inflation Reduction Act aimed at controlling drug prices, the general public is largely unaware of these efforts. Many believe that inflation is a result of the Biden administration's policies and are leaning towards supporting Trump. This sentiment is particularly pronounced among African American and Latino communities. Meanwhile, some communities are experiencing long lines at food banks and free meal services, reflecting the severe impact of inflation on vulnerable populations. These individuals often lack the willingness to engage politically, as they are more focused on maintaining basic living standards. Experts analyze that if Trump is elected, his economic policies could further exacerbate inflation. Meanwhile, Democratic candidate Harris's economic agenda has also failed to fully convince voters. Overall, inflation is shaking the political stance of the American middle class, leaving them feeling helpless and confused. October 24, 2024 Briefing. Theme: Frankfurt Book Fair opens. Author Elif Shafak calls for literature to play a role in times of fear. Key information points. 1. Elif Shafak delivered a speech at the opening ceremony of the Frankfurt Book Fair, calling for the role of writers and poets in a world filled with division, inequality, and war. 2. She reflected on past optimistic expectations for technological development, but the reality is that we face an overload of information and a lack of knowledge and wisdom. She believes we need to slow down and rebuild wisdom through literature, slow news, and open knowledge exchange. 3. As a novelist, she focuses on ecofeminism, attempting to connect seemingly separate issues, such as water scarcity and gender inequality. She believes that novelists are guardians of memory and should unearth marginalized and forgotten stories. 4. In this age of anxiety, anger, and numbness, literature must act as a form of hope and resistance, countering despair by evoking our shared humanity. Writers need to analyze events as they happen, rather than retrospectively. Summary: Elif Shafak calls for literature to play a crucial role in the current age of division and anxiety, asserting that as guardians of memory, literature should unearth forgotten stories, evoke humanity, and serve as a force for resistance and hope. Briefing 1. German football manager Thomas Tuchel will take over as head coach of the England national team in January 2025. The 51-year-old coach, who previously managed Chelsea, has divorced his wife Sisai and is currently in a relationship with a Brazilian girlfriend, Natalie Marks, who is 13 years younger. 2. The Trip Trap series of high chairs from the brand stock features ergonomic designs that can be adjusted in height for both the seat and footrest, allowing children to sit comfortably at the dining table as they grow. 3. Süddeutsche Zeitung has advised readers to use secure communication tools, such as Secure Drop, encrypted emails, and encrypted messaging apps, to protect sources, avoiding unsafe phone calls and emails. The newspaper also provided relevant contact information and usage guidelines. Overall, these articles cover various themes, including football, children's products, and the safety of news reporting, while succinctly summarizing the most valuable information points to form a comprehensive briefing. October 24, 2024 Briefing. Beijing releases plan to enhance high-quality development of tourism industry. Beijing plans to transform the capital into a world-class tourist city and global travel destination by 2029. The tourism industry's added value will account for over 5% of Beijing's GDP, with total visitor numbers growing by over 2% annually and tourism revenue increasing by around 4% per year, while inbound tourist numbers are expected to grow by 5% annually. Beijing will establish a balanced and orderly spatial layout for tourists across the city and create distinctive tourism areas based on regional resource characteristics. Beijing has also signed strategic cooperation agreements with several banks to provide 150 billion yuan in financing and credit support over the next 5 years. Cross-border e-commerce boosts development of Guangxi border cities. Guangxi border cities are achieving industrial transformation and upgrading through cross-border e-commerce, creating job opportunities for local residents. Zhang Shanghua, an entrepreneur at the cross-border e-commerce live streaming base in Pingwu County, has significantly increased his income through live streaming sales of clothing and daily necessities. Data shows that from January to July this year, the cross-border e-commerce import and export volume in Pingwu County exceeded 6 billion yuan, a year-on-year increase of over 400%. The deepening of the comprehensive strategic partnership between China and Vietnam, along with the implementation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, presents greater development opportunities for Guangxi's cross-border e-commerce. October 24, 2024 Briefing. 1. Kodaiji Temple Light Show in Kyoto's high mountain area. Kodaiji Temple will hold its annual autumn night viewing event from October 25 to December 15, featuring a light show. The light show, themed prayer, will project Buddhist concepts such as the character heaven, creating a mysterious atmosphere. Visiting hours are from 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., with adult tickets priced at 600 yen. 2. Japan's temperature hits record high. On October 24, the temperature in central Tokyo reached 25.1 degrees Celsius, marking the 153rd day this year with temperatures hitting 25 degrees or above. Temperatures are expected to gradually drop to 20 to 21 degrees starting October 25, nearing normal levels. 3. Attack on the headquarters of the Liberal Democratic Party. On October 22, a 49-year-old man threw what appeared to be a fuel bomb at the headquarters of the Liberal Democratic Party and crashed his car into the outer fence of the Prime Minister's residence. No injuries were reported, and the suspect was arrested at the scene. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba condemned the violent act, stating that democracy must not yield to violence. 4. 30th Anniversary of QR Codes. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the QR code's invention by a Japanese engineer, which has become widely used in modern business activities. QR codes have evolved from the original one-dimensional barcodes to various variants, such as microcodes, secure codes, and printable pattern codes, with increasingly diverse applications. The usage of QR codes has reached astronomical levels, making it difficult to quantify. 5. Funding issues for the Liberal Democratic Party. The Liberal Democratic Party allocated 20 million yen to branches of party members who did not receive formal nominations, raising media scrutiny. Ishiba stated that the funds were for branch activities and unrelated to personal campaigns, denying any money politics issues. An unnamed candidate confirmed receiving the funds, stating they would be used for future member expansion activities. In summary, this briefing covers the Kodaiji Temple Light Show, Japan's record high temperatures, the attack on the Liberal Democratic Party headquarters, the 30th anniversary of QR codes, and funding issues within the Liberal Democratic Party, highlighting the most valuable information points while succinctly summarizing the articles. October 24, 2024 Briefing. Main content. 1. Australian athlete Liam Wright requires shoulder surgery, marking his 8th major injury in the past 6 years. 2. Richard White, founder and CEO of Australian tech company WiseTech Global, resigned amid a scandal involving relationships with multiple women. 3. A renowned cycling event in New South Wales, Bowral Classic, was cancelled an hour before the start due to a traffic management contractor's error, causing great disappointment among participants. Nevertheless, many chose to ride independently to complete the course. Overall, this briefing covers significant events in the sports and business sectors, highlighting hot news in Australia. While there are some negative reports, it also reflects the positive attitude of participants and the organizers' responses. Overall, the briefing is rich in content, with prominent information points and clear organization, meeting the requirements. Briefing. Inflation pressures ease, but tipping culture continues to trouble consumers. Article summary. 1. Canada's inflation rate has fallen below 2%, yet consumers still feel the pinch of rising prices. The proliferation of tipping culture is a significant factor contributing to this gap. 2. During the pandemic, consumers were encouraged to tip more to support service industry workers. The rise of contactless payment methods has further exacerbated the prevalence of tipping. 3. Although inflation has largely receded, tipflation remains difficult to eradicate. The increase in tipping rates leads consumers to perceive rising prices, affecting their views on the economic situation. 4. The Statistics Agency does not include tips in the Consumer Price Index, primarily due to a lack of reliable monthly data. However, third-party data indicates that average tipping rates at restaurants and cafes have increased. 5. Some consumers are dissatisfied with the growing demands for tips and are beginning to reduce their gratuities. Experts warn that businesses overly reliant on tips may harm their long-term interests. 6. Overall, while inflation has been controlled, the negative impacts of tipflation persist, requiring joint efforts from consumers and businesses to address the issue. October 24, 2024 Briefing. 1. The Australian Federal Court stated that neither the court nor presiding judge Michael Lee was involved in writing a book about Lee's ruling. The publisher indicated they had contacted Lee beforehand, and he did not oppose the book's publication. 2. Bruce Lerman has decided to appeal after losing a defamation case against Network 10. Network 10 has demanded Lerman pay a bond of $200,000 to cover its legal costs, but Lerman claims he cannot afford it. 3. King Charles and Queen Camilla began their first visit to Australia since their coronation. During a visit to Canberra, King Charles accidentally missed a step but humorously remarked, "This is not what I expected." 4. King Charles and Queen Camilla will participate in 36 activities over their 9-day itinerary. Queen Camilla previously vacationed alone in Singapore and will meet up with King Charles before heading to Australia. 5. Many Australian Republicans have referred to this visit as a farewell tour, expressing dissatisfaction with the monarchy. Overall, this visit has sparked some controversy and minor incidents, but the itinerary remains packed, with the King and Queen attending several important events. The following is a briefing summarizing the content of multiple articles provided. Singapore banks strengthen anti-fraud measures. The Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, announced that banks must block or delay suspicious transactions exceeding 25,000 Singapore dollars to reduce the risk of customers' accounts being emptied quickly. This is part of a newly launched, shared responsibility framework aimed at combating phishing scams and maintaining trust in Singapore's digital banking and payment systems. Banks have 6 months to implement this new measure. If banks fulfill their responsibilities, consumers will bear the entire loss. Las Vegas Sands expands Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. Las Vegas Sands plans to invest 10.06 billion Singapore dollars to build a fourth hotel tower at Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. This project, dubbed Marina Bay Sands 2.0, will include 570 hotel rooms, a high-end gaming area, a sky garden, a 15,000-seat entertainment venue, as well as conference, exhibition, and dining facilities. The company expects to directly cover 25% to 35% of the project costs, with the remainder financed through project financing. Construction is expected to begin in June 2025, with an official opening in January 2031. No news to report. Due to the content provided being somewhat unrelated to the briefing theme of the Straits Times, a cohesive briefing cannot be generated. The above content only addresses the anti-fraud measures of Singapore banks and the expansion project at Marina Bay Sands, failing to comprehensively summarize the reporting of the Straits Times. To write a more comprehensive briefing, additional relevant news content would be needed. October 24, 2024 briefing. 1. Upcoming Indian elections. The Mahim constituency in Mumbai will see a three-way contest between the ruling Shiv Sena, the opposition Shiv Sena, UBT, and the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, MNS, led by Raj Thackeray. The Mahim constituency was the birthplace of Shiv Sena and later also of MNS. MNS has introduced Raj Thackeray's son, Amit Thackeray, as a candidate, marking his debut in elections. Shiv Sena and Shiv Sena, UBT, have also announced their candidates. 2. BRICS Summit. Chinese President Xi Jinping stated at the BRICS Summit that the world faces severe challenges and called for BRICS countries to be a stabilizing force. She urged for a ceasefire in Gaza, the resumption of the two-state solution, and prevention of the escalation of conflict in Lebanon. 3. NVIDIA partners with Indian business tycoon. NVIDIA has reached an agreement with Indian business giant Reliance Industries to establish AI computing infrastructure and innovation centers in India. The two parties will jointly develop cutting-edge AI chips and software platforms to position India as a global AI leader. Reliance Jio is one of the largest data companies globally and is expected to bring surprises to the world in smart technology. 4. Trump faces new allegations. A former model accused Trump of sexual misconduct after being introduced to him by Epstein in the 1990s. Trump's campaign team denied the allegation, calling it a false story. Trump has previously faced accusations of sexual harassment from multiple women but has consistently denied all allegations. In summary, this briefing covers important topics including the Indian elections, the BRICS Summit, NVIDIA's investment plans in India, and new allegations against Trump, providing readers with comprehensive and interconnected information. October 24, 2024 briefing. This briefing primarily focuses on the following key points. 1. Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, killed by Israeli forces. U.S. President Biden called it a good day for Israel, America, and the world. Iranian President Pezeshkian expressed condolences, stating it is painful and heartbreaking for all freedom-loving people worldwide. 2. Israel accuses 6 Al Jazeera journalists of being members of Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Israel Defense Forces claim to have found evidence in Hamas documents indicating that these journalists participated in military and propaganda work for the terrorist organizations. Al Jazeera denied these allegations. 3. Israeli forces attack a school in Gaza, killing at least 17 people, including an 11-month-old baby. The attack injured 32 people and occurred in the Nuseirat refugee camp in Gaza. Overall, this briefing focuses on the latest developments in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, including the assassination of a Hamas leader, Israel's accusations against Al Jazeera journalists, and the attack on civilians in Gaza by Israeli forces. These events reflect the ongoing tensions and violent conflicts in the Middle East.